Welcome back, guys. Today I want to talk about how I found Bitcoin and how it started to consume my life next to the challenges of a German man living down under in Australia. Besides, having to speak another language and get out of his comfort zone completely and embrace new challenges. And I thought I'm going to combine it with a quick introduction of myself as well because I had realized I've never done this before. So here we go. I am Jonas. I am 33 years old, and as I said before, I'm from Germany. I'm from a very small town in Bavaria. It's called Dietfurt. It's around 1.5 hours northeast of Munich. And in 2018, I had heard about Bitcoin the first time from my sister's ex-boyfriend, actually. I think it was in like December or January, just after that major bull run in 2017 when Bitcoin went from, I think, was it like a $4,000 or $5,000 or something like that to $17,000. And he told me, like, oh my god, he had a couple friends who made a bunch of money with it, and just like that you can get rich with it, and made like 2,000-3,000 euros or something like that. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck, really? Like, I need to buy this as well, and let's see what this is all about. So I bought a little bit, and then obviously it went all down again and again, and we just entered this big bear market, this big downtrend of the whole Bitcoin, of the whole crypto market. And then half a year later, I decided to travel the world for a couple of years. So actually just initially for 1 year, but I started, I just really wanted to go out there, see the world, and work in my profession abroad. And I guess it's the classic European backpacker thing, but I had a profession already, so I just wanted to work in my profession as a joiner, cabinet maker. I'm a master's joiner, so I'm a craftsman, a tradesman. And I started in New Zealand, so I had booked my flight to New Zealand, and just went there and started enjoying all the ups and downs of it, of all the challenges. And then I needed some money because somewhat I just in the beginning I traveled a lot and I didn't really work at the time, and I had some decent savings, but it wasn't enough to just keep that sort of traveling going. And I was like, oh, I still have this Bitcoin, right? Like, what's this? And it went even down more. So I had like around, I think, of an initial investment, I think I had like 2,000 euros or something invested, and then it went down, I think, to 800 euros or something like that. And I was like, okay, this is not going anywhere. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand what it is, but the 800 euros seemed way more appealing than the actual Bitcoin. And I think at that time that was zero point 0.1 Bitcoin or something like that. Today, that would be worth over 8,000 euros, over 9,000 euros. So you can imagine that's a big regret. But I sold it at that time and just used the money for traveling, right? And life goes on, and I didn't really look into the space more, and I wasn't really interested in finances. I just wanted to travel, have fun, see cool places, do cool shit with cool people, and that was about it. That was all my worry. My only worry was where can I get to the next hostel bar and go drinking and whatnot. So that was that. And then after that 1 year, I decided to come to Australia for another year of working holiday and keep that, sort of travel momentum going. And I had heard that I can earn quite decent money as a tradesman in Australia. So I was like, okay, why not? I'm just going to apply for this working holiday visa and come to Australia and see what happens. And I came to Sydney and saw all this amazing wealth around me, right? There's so many people, you see big cars and you see big houses, and it's just like a very beautiful Sydney eastern suburbs. If you've ever been here, it's a very wealthy area, a very beautiful, well-kept area. It's very safe. People are very friendly. It's a very chill, relaxed place where people are just doing well, right? And as time goes on, 2020 comes along, and I couldn't believe what was happening during the pandemic, however you want to call it, scamdemic, plandemic, however. And I was just thinking the world is going to shit like everyone else. So I kind of, at this point in time, I had set myself already a couple of savings goals, and I thought about, how can I create wealth? Like you start thinking about this, because I was just like 28, 29 when I came to Australia. I think around 28, that's when I came here. And you start thinking about, oh my God, for my future, what am I going to do, and how can I invest and make some money, and do that in a way that I actually, that's actually sustainable. So I had decided to learn about money, learn about investing, and working in sort of the construction field and the trades field. I realized that, tradesmen making good money here, and houses are worth a lot in Australia. It's like the whole economy in Australia is basically based on property and real estate. It's just, you buy property, fix and flip it, you buy and hold it, and you generate, rental yield of it and all of that stuff. And that's that's the Australian way to create wealth. Not just in Australia, it's in America, but very much in Australia. The Australian property market has outperformed a lot of things over the last, 5 decades, let's say. It's absolutely crazy when you see some of these houses, just 40, 50 years ago. Some of these houses here in Sydney were worth like $20,000, $30,000, and today they're worth 2 to 3 million. So that is 100x return on your money. It's absolutely crazy what's going on. And, I looked into this, and I was like, oh yeah, maybe one day I could buy, I calculated how many years I would have to save to have to deposit for a rental property. And I decided to, maybe I can stay for like 2 to 3 years, and I can save some money and get the permanent residency in Australia, and, save up for a rental investment property. And then 2020 comes along, and everything seems to be going to shit, right? And then I started learning about finances already, and kind of listened to some podcasts, watched some stuff on YouTube, and you get a little bit more familiar with the financial language. And then I saw the stock market just going up like crazy during that time, but it didn't make any sense to me, because the economy was flat. Like nobody was working, everyone was locked into their homes, right? It didn't make any sense to me. Like the whole world was basically locked down, forced to do nothing and stay home, and the freedom of people being taken away, which is a topic for itself. But the stock market is going to an all-time high. So people are not working, people are not going to the factories, people are not going anywhere. But the stock market is going to an all-time high. So how can a company be valued at an all-time high when nobody's working, right? That doesn't make any sense to me. So I was just thinking, I was like, what is going on here? And the more I listened to very, very smart people online, right, and to finance guys who just understand this game on a very different level, I realized that, it's all the money printing. It's literally just the money printing. Like these central banks are printing so much money that all that freshly printed money, or that freshly created money, it's not so much printing anymore. It's like creating the money digitally. All that money goes into the economy, and that's why the stock market is pumping up, right? It's not because the company is actually valued on a fair profit to earnings ratio. It's just because the money needs to go somewhere. All these dollars created, they need to go somewhere, and two of the most common assets are properties, real estate, and the stock market. So that's obviously going to an all-time high, even though nothing's happening with it, right? It was absolutely crazy for me to understand. And I was like, that's so fucked up. Like that system is completely rigged. So you basically, I think Michael Saylor says that very, very often. I love that. He says that, the one side of the economy, which is Wall Street or all the financial companies who hold and own all the assets, or also property owners, right? They get richer and richer and richer by doing nothing. And the other side of the economy, the workforce, who is actually productive, right? The people who are producing things, they just get absolutely destroyed. It's devastating. And that just made me angry. Like, I was like, what the fuck is this system about? Like, this is completely against the middle class, right? Like, you start to realize what is going on? And and along comes Bitcoin, and more of these finance influencers I was listening to, and all of these people, they were just talking about how Bitcoin, like, why is Bitcoin just went up as well like crazy. And I saw this and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I had bought already a little bit at that time, but then I really started to look into what Bitcoin is and why is it freedom money. And it is just so interesting how this whole network works and how it gives the power back to people. How Bitcoin is basically, I don't want to call it a weapon, but I want to call it maybe a tool to give freedom and sovereignty back to the middle class and to the people, right? To these people, to these very people who had lost everything during the pandemic. And you realize like that the more they print, which they can't stop, the more Bitcoin is going up. And from then on, I fell into this amazing journey of discovering Bitcoin, discovering sovereignty, freedom, what this actually means, how the economy works, how money actually works, and all of these things. And never looked back, and you're moving from this dollar-based system, which, doesn't work for the majority of people, to a Bitcoin standard after thousands and thousands of hours of researching it. And you just come out on the other side with like a lot more understanding how this economic machine actually works, which is, it involves every single emotion you can imagine. Anger, and you're upset, you're angry, you are pissed off, because all these years, you think what these politicians and what these bankers are telling you, they have your best interest, but it's not the case, right? It's not the case. They're just lying to you. From pretty much every single thing they say is a lie. What the inflation rate is, that we're not in a recession, interest rates manipulation, all of this stuff. It's just so, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to get cynical about it, but I think a lot of people who've been there and who've done some research will agree with me on this. So yeah, so this is how Bitcoin, how I fell into the Bitcoin rabbit hole, how I started studying the asset for thousands and thousands of hours, and how all I talk about is basically Bitcoin. You can ask everyone around me. And that's also a reason why I started this YouTube channel, because I think it's such an amazing tool for economic sovereignty and for freedom, and to give property rights back to people. It's basically the perfect property, because if you store it the right way, nobody can take it away from you. It's unconfiscatable, and it's just an amazing thing, an amazing technology. And I also wanted to say is that, for the average person, you don't have to study Bitcoin for hundreds or thousands of hours. You likely will once you start doing it, because it's such an interesting topic, interesting subject to get into, because it involves a lot of things. It involves, macroeconomics, it involves money, and who doesn't want to have money? And it involves psychology, human psychology, markets, game theory, technology, tech. There's so many things which basically flow into this asset, and so many broader subjects which it covers when you start learning about it. But what I was going to say is that you also, a lot of people don't know how the internet works. They just know that it's a more efficient technology. An email is clearly a more efficient tool to send a message from A to B. Like, let's say I'm living in Australia. I want to send a message to Germany. It's way more efficient to do that over WhatsApp or email instead of sending a letter, because it's like 2 seconds versus 2 weeks. So obviously it's a no-brainer which technology you're going to use for that. And also, so Bitcoin is just a better money, right? And you don't fully 100% have to understand it to use it, right? Like, there's so many ins and outs of it, but all you have to know is that it's simply a better technology, a better money. And sooner or later, 8 billion people will understand that and start using it. And the earlier you are in this, the more you benefit from it. It's as simple as that. I hope you liked the video. Give me a like, maybe comment down below if you own Bitcoin already, what you think about Bitcoin or how you got into it, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for listening.